Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
7:07 O'Connor and Company on this Friday, the 23rd day of January, on the eve of just a devastating, frankly, quite possibly civilization-threatening snowstorm.
Well, come on. You and I both grew up in cold weather places that got more than this, but for this area, yes.
I'm merely reflecting the mood of our listening public here, who are ready to set their car on fire for warmth on the Beltway when the first inch of snow starts to fall. It is going to be a major one, though. We're not trying to downplay it, I promise, and we'll talk about all the details of the storm that will begin Saturday evening all through Sunday, mixed with freezing rain and sleet, and it's not good. At 7:35, we'll talk to Abe Abich about the roller coaster that is the financial markets, especially how it pertains to your retirement. And then at 8:35, Congressman Scott Fitzgerald, part of that hearing yesterday with Jack Smith. It's Larry O'Connor. That's Patrice Onwuka. Good morning, Patrice.
Happy Friday.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And do we have the guest? We do have the guest. Joining us right now is our guest, Marjorie Dannenfelser. She is the president of Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America. And today's the day. And, I mean, it's going to be cold, but not as bad as this weekend and next week. So, I mean, for once, the March for Life has dodged a bullet, Marjorie.
Yeah, but it really is the March for Life vibe to be in the freezing cold in the snow. We're out there still marching, but we're not going to do that this year. We'll just be freezing cold. But
can I tell you, I have witnessed the March for Life either in person or on video over the course of the last, 14, 15 years. And it seems like when it's snowing and sub-freezing, those kids, especially the high school kids and the college kids, they like it better, frankly. They have more fun.
They gain energy. Like, the harder it is, the more energy they have. It's like, now, I am not a student. You might be surprised to hear, Larry, but even I get it. But it is an incredible day. Just rejuvenation. Yes. Remember what we're talking about here. We're not talking about tax deductions for office equipment. We're talking about, the deaths of children that are being formed that will never be replicated, that are precious gifts, and their moms who deserve better than an abortion.
Well, speaking of the message, what is, your message to the Trump administration, which thankfully has been pretty pro-life to date, but what are you looking forward to the administration trying to accomplish over the next 3 years?
Well, the most important thing that will happen in the next 3 years is that the GOP from the top, meaning the top office holder, which is the president, along with the vice president, regain its pro-life voice. There is just no question that since even beginning with the convention before the election, there is a general gutting out of the abortion part of the coalition. But let's just say this: the heart and soul of what the GOP is. If it's not about the first right of all rights, then it's really hard to be about anything else. So what we're expecting is, and hoping, certainly we would love it. We would be celebrating if today there was an announcement that there would be a restoration of the rules surrounding the distribution of the abortion drug, an in-person doctor visit, not just through the mail to an ex-boyfriend, going to put it in her drink, some restoration of sanity, which Trump, under the first Trump administration, was in place and only changed during COVID by Biden just to slip it in the mail, to great, great consequence, obviously for children, increasing the abortion rate in the country, but also to the health of women, and it's well documented those harms.
Well, you did, Marjorie, get an announcement yesterday from the National Institutes for Health that they will no longer be using federal dollars for fetal tissue research, that ghoulish procedure from abortions. And we just discussed the details of that. And if you are looking for more, well, you're going to have some pretty powerful names there on the podium next to you. You've got the Vice President, of course, J.D. Vance, who is our second Catholic vice president in history and a pretty solid pro-life individual. You've also got House Speaker Mike Johnson there, who is a pretty solid pro-life man, too. So, at least you've got the right people aligned with you today for the march.
Yeah, there's no question about that. No one has done more than Speaker Mike Johnson with very little to work with, meaning such slim margins in the House. I mean, in his words, he's got pro-life tattooed on his back. This is how he came up in politics. And it helps to be an attorney. He just is fantastic. And without him, many things would not have happened. Yes, we know the heart of the vice president. What we need is the hands and the work and the consequences. And I do want to say, yes, thank goodness for the NIH rule. Absolutely should happen. The Planned Parenthood study at SBA, not us, Small Business Administration, with the COVID loans, they're studying whether Planned Parenthood should have gotten those loans. There's a dramatically expanded Mexico City policy, which keeps our money out of foreign promotion of abortion. All those things are very important. Also expected. They should be. Thank you. Yes, fantastic. But let's make progress when we can. And the worst thing happening right now is the undermining of everything that was done right after the Dobbs decision and the overturning of Roe. The 20 states that have pro-life laws are basically null because the abortion drugs are flooding into those states. That's the big thing that could be done immediately.
We're speaking with Marjorie Dannenfelser, president of the Susan B. Anthony list organization. Talking about some of the things that happened during COVID under the Biden administration in really pushing forward the abortion agenda. It looks like the SBA under the Trump administration is going to try and claw back some COVID era loans that were given out to Planned Parenthood and to the tune of millions of dollars. Are there other areas that you're looking towards where the Trump administration, working with Congress, can claw back things that were done during the Biden administration?
Yes. The number one thing would be the administration reinstating the rules surrounding that distribution of the abortion drug. That would change everything. It would save hundreds of thousands of lives. Also, the administration itself has weakened to set it's flexible on the Hyde Amendment, which is the bedrock, already a consensus for almost 50 years that we shouldn't be spending our money on abortions, no matter what you think about abortion. Yeah. Those two things come from the administration. They can do that immediately. They can do it today, and we hope they will. The Senate and the House have been fantastic by and large. The leadership there has been ideal, just like I said with Mike Johnson. With Little Leader Thune, the same. We think they're, but we've got a trifecta. We could do so much more if we had the help of the administration on the ambitious, but honestly easily done two things that I just mentioned: the Hyde Amendment and the rules surrounding the pill.
Marjorie Dannenfelser, president of Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America. Sorry to cut you off right at the end there, but I want to make sure we get in here the details today, because there might be people listening who's like, you know what, always wanted to do the March for Life. Maybe today's the day, because we are going to have temperatures up into looks like 44, 45 degrees. Yeah. Not bad. Where and when should people assemble if they want to participate in the march or the rally? Where's it going to end up for all the speeches?
The rally begins at around. I'm going to say is that the best thing you can do, because
I'll help you out. It's 11. The rally begins at 11 a.m. And then the March for Life begins after the rally. Sorry about that. I thought you had it at your fingertips.
No, I'm so sorry. I was going to say definitely Google it, because it'll tell you literally where to walk onto where the rally begins.
Perfect.
And then it ends at the Capitol, not at the Supreme Court anymore, because praise God, we got what we needed there. Now we need laws to back up to extend what Dobbs offered us. So very, very excited about today.
Real fast, Marjorie, and I used to love the fact that there was always one or two Democrats who would come and participate and be seen or even speak, because this is an issue that should transcend political parties. And I know that you transcend political party. You don't care what the color of the state is, or the flag, or the whether it's an elephant or a donkey. You just are focusing on those unborn children. Are there any elected Democrats participating today?
I don't believe there are any elected Democrats participating today. Certainly there haven't been any announced. And I'm really glad that you brought that up. It has. This is a human rights issue. It's not a party issue. It's not a blue state, red state, none of that. And Democrats used to reflect that. I worked for pro-life Democrats, and I know what the general gist was beautiful and complementary to the other things they believed in, protecting the little guy. I wish there were, but I think the answer is no.
All right.
Well,
Thank you for that. Hope springs eternal. Thank you, Marjorie. And
Thank
today
you, Marjorie.
will be all about hope. It's going to be joyful down there. And stay warm and enjoy.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Brandon Gill is like Superman on Capitol Hill. He actually kind of looks like Christopher Reeve.
He's got the Clark Kent, handsome, dark skin, dark eyes, dark hair features.
Except he's not wearing those glasses that sort of, perfectly disguise Clark Kent so no one can notice that he's actually Superman. Anyway, Brandon Gill was on the panel yesterday in Oversight. Was it Oversight or Judicial, actually? Not sure.
I think it might have been Judicial.
But this was the Jack Smith hearing.
Yes.
Jack Smith, of course, the special prosecutor who was dismissed. His charges were thrown out by the Supreme Court. But then there have been many revelations about his strong-arm tactics there for the Arctic Frost investigation into January 6th and President Trump, including espionage on members of Congress.
Yes.
Now, listen, there's a right way and a wrong way to do this hearing yesterday. I believe the wrong way is to debate the merits of what happened on January 6th and what President Trump said. I mean, there are some congressmen who did that. And listen, the fact that he distorted what Donald Trump said, and the entire premise of the investigation was Donald Trump knew that he lost the election, but he went ahead and perpetrated this fraud. Wait, okay, good luck proving that Donald Trump knew in his heart that he lost the 2020 election. Sorry, you can't do it. But that was the premise of all of the charges that Jack Smith laid. So that's worth investigating. But frankly, I think Brandon Gill did the right thing by going after the tactics and abuse that Jack Smith employed. Yeah. Take a listen. We'll start with cut 9.
Mr. Smith, in January of 2023, did you subpoena then Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy's toll records?
Yes, sir, we did.
Yes, you did. And the subpoena covered the time period between November 2020 and January 2021. Is that right?
I'm sorry, sir. Could you say that again?
We're not going to delay like this. The subpoena covered the time period between November of 2020 and January 2021. How many days after Kevin McCarthy was sworn in as Speaker did you subpoena his records?
I don't recall, but those two things had nothing to do with one. It was
16 days after becoming the highest-ranking Republican in the House of Representatives. You subpoenaed his toll records. Do you agree that that might reasonably be considered a violation of the speech or debate clause?
I do not, and I want to be clear that the toll records...
You were collecting months' worth of phone data on the Republican Speaker of the House, the leader of the opposition, right after he got sworn in as Speaker, all around the time of a major vote. That sounds like a flagrant violation of the speech or debate clause to me, and I think most people agree with me. And Speaker McCarthy had no recourse, did he? Because you issued a non-disclosure order ensuring that neither he nor any of the American people knew about these subpoenas. Is that right?
The toll record, the non-content toll record subpoenas, we did secure non-disclosure orders for those subpoenas.
You did. And let me ask you, Mr. Smith, at the time you secured those non-disclosure orders, was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
The non-disclosure order was based on concerns about...
Was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
He was not.
This is a surgical dismantling of some of the aspects of the Jack Smith overreach here in this prosecution, and it's beautifully done. And you can hear the delay tactic. I love that. Was my favorite part. Could you repeat the question? And Brandon goes like, "Yeah, we're not going to delay like this. I'll just go ahead and say it a little bit more here. Take a listen."
Was not. Then why did your non-disclosure order refer to him as a flight risk? It says right here, the court finds reasonable grounds to believe that such disclosure will result in flight from prosecution.
Sir, when securing a non-disclosure order, the risks don't have to be associated.
You think that the Speaker of the House is a flight risk?
The question?
No, this is not your time. This is my time. You think the Speaker of the House is a flight risk? You think he's going to hop on a plane and leave the country?
No. What I was trying to explain is, with respect to a non-disclosure order, the risks aren't necessarily associated with the subscriber to the phone. They're the risks to the investigation.
I think that you were using, this was clearly in reference to Speaker McCarthy, and you were using clearly false information to secure a non-disclosure order to hide from Speaker McCarthy and from the American people the fact that you were spying on his toll records. But I've got more, so let's
beautiful.
move on.
He nailed him, and you know that he nailed him because one of the Democrats tried to come to his rescue. And,
yes.
Right. And that's how you know Gil knows what he's doing. Listen, there's more of this testimony. I want you to hear it. We'll try to get it in here. And also at 8:35, Scott Fitzgerald of Wisconsin, who was part of the hearing yesterday, he'll join us too. So stay with us. There's more of that. 7:24.
All right. After a rocky week on the stock market, we're going to have Abe Abich coming up to talk to us about what people can be doing next. Stay with us. It's O'Connor and Company at 7:30.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
We are going to pick up where we left off there on the testimony with Brandon Gill questioning Jack Smith yesterday on Capitol Hill. Also, good morning. It's 7:37. And at 8:35, an hour from now, we'll speak with Congressman Scott Fitzgerald of Wisconsin, who was also a participant in that hearing. So we'll get to all of that. It's Larry O'Connor with Patrice Onwuka. And Patrice, how's your money looking right now?
My money is not funny. My money is okay. It's okay.
Well, good. Well, it's been quite a week, and there's a lot of forces going on in the economy right now that might make people a little nervous. Can we get our money music going, please? And I gave you the cue. I said money. Money. All right, maybe not. There it is. Abe Abich is the founder and CEO of Abich Financial Services. You hear me talk about him every day. He's also the host of The Retirement Key here on WMAL all weekend long, so you hear him talking directly to you. And my best way to introduce him, by the way, is he's the man with my retirement in his hands. And by the way,
a lot of pressure.
Meritus future for that regard. So thank you, Abe, my friend. Thanks for joining us. Always good to talk with you.
Oh, thanks for having me, Larry. I really appreciate it.
Well, it occurred to me that this was a wild week, from the stock roller coaster, the bond roller coaster, the threat of tariffs. You can see how, little initiatives and statements from the president going to the Davos, talking about Greenland, it can have such a resounding effect on things. Precious metals futures, things like that. Oil now, and the roller coaster there. There's a record number of baby boomers right now that are retiring. From your perspective, what is that doing here, and what do people need to look out for considering the volatility? Because it's the last thing you want, right, when you're about to retire. It's like, oh, okay, now it's going to go crazy.
Exactly right. Yeah, it definitely reminds us of early 2025, right, with tariff volatility. And, you never know what's going to spook the market. So you certainly don't want to hope for the best. You need to have a plan. You need to be proactive. You need to take action. You need to control what you can. And there are numerous things you can do, Larry, to control what you can instead of hoping that things are going to work out, because, things like this happen in the stock market every single year. Look, we've got midterms later this year. There's always going to be something, every single year that can, make the markets go up or down. But you need to create stability in your retirement plan. So here's a handful of things that listeners can do to take action and control what they can. Number one, you need to review your portfolio. If it's been years, sometimes, believe it or not, guys, it's 5, 10, 15 years that someone's really looked at what they have, and then they wake up at 58, at 62, at 65, they're like, oh, I've got $3 million now, I've got $5 million now, maybe I can retire, but they're still invested as if they were 40, 45. So you need to ask yourself, what would happen if stocks dropped by 20, 25, 30% right after you retire? So a check-in on a regular basis can definitely help you to understand the risk you're taking, the need to rebalance for stability, how much money you actually have, how much income you can generate in retirement, and how much you'll actually need to retire, safely. Number two, this is pretty simple, but we can actually take advantage of contributing more and more money each year to save for retirement. every single year, the IRS typically adjusts the contribution limits for inflation. There are higher contribution limits in 2026. Believe it or not everybody takes advantage of maxing out accounts. You can, and a lot of people should, right? Yeah. Max out TSPs, 401ks, and IRAs to save as much as you possibly can to get to retirement safely. You mentioned, Larry, inflation and people investing in precious metals. Gold and silver are having their moment right now, no doubt, and that's because of the concern of the dollar weakening. You've got crypto, you've got stocks, you've got ETFs, you've got real estate. You've got so many things you can do if you're sitting on lazy money in the bank. And believe it or not, a lot of people are sitting on lazy money in the bank, making 3%, 3.5%. Rates are coming down because the Federal Reserve has cut rates. You might want to think about getting some of that lazy money off the sidelines, working harder for you. Those are a couple things I can think of just off the top of my mind that can help.
These are really helpful, and it's so good to speak with you. We're speaking with Abe Abich, founder and CEO of Abich Financial Services. So the one big beautiful bill, or the working families tax cuts, cut taxes for so many working families, and it's going to be significant. People are feeling it already in their paychecks, and then they're going to be getting bigger refunds because of withholding changes and all that good stuff. What should people be thinking about from a tax perspective? Because I listen to your show all the time on the weekends, and you say you're always surprised. Your clients are surprised that they are not in the tax bracket they expect. So from a tax perspective, both this big bill that was just passed, but also moving forward, what should people be thinking about?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, it's one thing to have the money you need saved to retire with dignity and confidence, right? And your number might be $1 million, it might be $5 million, whatever it is. You need to know what that number, or at least a rough number that you'll need to retire and have that money last you, 30 or 40 years when you do retire. But it's another thing to have money saved in the right places. One of the biggest myths we believe about retirement planning is that when you get to retirement, you'll be in a lower tax bracket simply because you're not working anymore. Well, tell that to all the military people in the D.C. metro area that have nice pensions, and government workers that have nice FERS pensions, and teachers that have pensions, and then Social Security on top of it, and then several $1 million saved on top of that. Ask them if they're going to be in a lower tax bracket when they retire. Now, some people will be, but a lot of people in this D.C. metro area won't be. So focusing on a tax plan, not just blindly saving money and socking it away, but really trying to be as tax efficient as possible. A lot of people need a tax plan mixed into the overall financial plan. That's one of the most important things people can do as well.
The friendly voice you hear and the knowledgeable voice is Abe Abich, Abich Financial, that you hear all the time at retirementkey.com, Retirement Key here on WMAL. Abe, you plan for retirement. You put together these models. I've seen you do it, by the way, with the great, metrics that you do on people's savings and their retirement plans. And then you got to figure out, okay, well, how much is it going to cost me in retirement when I don't have that paycheck coming in? And that's when the expense quotient comes in here. The way prices are fluctuating, cost of living is fluctuating, inflation, it's better than it was, but who knows what the next several elections will bring. How do you account for that? And what's a person approaching retirement supposed to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we help people primarily that are 55 and older that have typically saved enough to retire, and a lot of people know how to save and invest and how to pick, the options that are going to help them grow their money in the best way. But a lot of people don't know how to turn their life savings into reliable, dependable income that can last them into their 90s. I feel like the education on that side of the retirement plan is extremely lacking in our industry. And that's where we come in. And one of the first things we do, Larry, to answer your question, is we build out an income plan. I mean, how can you know if you can truly retire with success if you don't know how much income your life savings and all of your assets is going to generate? How can you know if you can retire with confidence if you don't know where all that income is going to come from? So we simply lay out a roadmap. We put it up on our big screens and we show you, hey, here's Social Security 1, Social Security 2, pensions if you have any, if you've got some real estate and some rental income, and your life savings amount. It's $2 million, $5 million, whatever it is. Here's what it can likely generate on an annual basis, adjusted for inflation, into your 80s and 90s. And we do need to plan on living long. We're living longer, so don't think you're going to pass away at 80. I mean, some people might, but a lot of people are living longer and longer, and we need to plan and have a plan to have that money last. So it's doing all the planning, right? Controlling what you can and not just hoping things are going to work out, but taking action. This is your life. You've worked for 40 to 50 years to save all this. So being as proactive as possible is what you really want to do.
This is your life. All right, we got to leave it there. Abe, always great to talk with you, my friend. Thank you. We're probably going to be checking in with you because it's an extraordinary year that we're in the middle of here. It's also an election year. And if last year is any indication as to what this year is going to be, well, we're going to need some advice now and again. So keep your phone handy, Abe.
Absolutely.
Vince Colonnese, weekdays at noon on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
It's 7:52, Patrice Onwuka, on this soon-to-be very hectic weekend in your nation's capital. Marco Rubio has a much more hectic life than the rest of us, though. In addition to having to deal with shoveling the snow in front of Foggy Bottom in the State Department this weekend, I'm sure he'll be doing that too.
Yeah.
He just got another new job. Now, you remember on Labor Day. You remember on Labor Day, the Secretary of State actually made a joke about this. Take a listen.
Mr. President, first of all, everyone's made this comment already and needs to be echoed again. You were elected as the President of Working Americans, and that's why this Labor Day is so meaningful. For me personally, this is the most meaningful Labor Day of my life as someone with 4 jobs. And so
there you go. And he did. At the time, he was the Secretary of State, acting National Security Advisor, acting archivist, by the way, and also the acting administrator of USAID. Now he's got a 5th job.
Okay.
Crazy. He's going to be the chair of the United States bid for the 2035 World Expo that they're hoping to get in Miami. He's a Miami resident, of course, Miami native. And that's the plan, is to get Miami Expo there as part of the Golden Age of America. That's looking for. So, I mean, insane. Patrice.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. This is a Caribbean man. If you remember, hey, man, we West Indians, we come to this country and we work many jobs because the opportunity is there and we're good at it. So kudos on our Secretary of State, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, for this new job.
By the way, there may be another job in his future. J.D. Vance, who, of course, announced late last week that he was expecting his 4th child, and in a sit-down at Newsmax, he hinted. Go ahead, 15.
The other memes for Secretary Marco Rubio may be the new nanny for the congratulations, by the way.
That's right. Thank you. We're very excited. Marco's going to be the highest-priced nanny that we've ever had, but great.
Yes.
Yeah, between being D&I and Secretary of State.
What's another job when you've already got 4?
Many AI-generated images of Marco Rubio dressed like Mary Poppins sitting on the sofa in the Oval Office, as he will now be the nanny for the new Vance child. And, well, I mean, at least the kid will grow up bilingual. There's that. Or maybe trilingual. I don't know. Does Usha Vance speak Indian?
No,
we'll see. All right, so there you go.
now.
That's Marco's got plenty on his plate. And by the way, he's doing a pretty good job at all of those tasks.
At all of them, exactly.
It's 7:54.